All right, guys, welcome back to the Premium Picks YouTube channel. Today we're going to break down UFC Fight Night Holloway versus Arnold Allen. Before we do that, let's quickly recap Saturday night's fights. That was a great card. UFC 287, Izzy versus Pereira. Great fights, I thought. Ended with a spectacular knockout. And our results were great once again. Once again, we smashed it. We gave you conservative picks. They won. We gave you high risk, high reward picks. They won. The parlays killed it. We went 4 for 6 on our parlays. One of those parlays was just like a stupid 7-leg YOLO one. That was one that we like sprinkled $10 on to win 500. We knew that wasn't going to hit. So realistically, we went 4 for 5 on the parlays. Like I made a lot of money. It was a great night for me. I loved every second of it. And I can't wait for this Saturday's. What did you take away from Saturday night's card, and how'd you do?
I did pretty good. I made a little bit. I probably should never have sprinkled Pereira. I went against my own bet there because Izzy knocked him to the quantum realm. He was on the ground stiff. That was pretty sick. My entire house went crazy. Otherwise, pretty good. Piper showed up like we thought he would. Giannis didn't. That was Font doesn't knock much people out, so that was kind of like whack. I thought the fight, Font would by decision was in play, but I didn't know Font by knockout. That was crazy. That was a crazy good fight. Other than that, Rojas showed his true colors. He's 18 years old. Christian Rodrigues showed the experience. So a lot of experienced fighters came through on Saturday. So that was good. That was good for the UFC. Some of these hype trains got derailed, but on to the next one. I like this card better personally. I got a lot of good views on this card, so we'll take it from there.
One quick thing I got to mention about Saturday. Honestly, that Gastelum fight was wicked, and his
Oh
post-fight
yeah,
speech was whack. That guy's weird, man. But
yeah, man,
hell of a
yeah.
fight, though.
I mean, Curtis showed his chin, but like, Gastelum looked good, really good. Striking looked real good. Um, you know, one takedown tried. You never thought that was going to the ground, but both these guys were hitting. Gaslam's chin, just like we said, showed up. Any other fighter would have went down from either one of those guys' shots at that point, right? So good fight.
Yep, for sure. All right, let's get into this card. Starting the prelims, we have Jocelyn Edwards versus Lucy Pudilova. This is kind of a low-level fight, but Edwards excels in these low-level fights. She's an underdog that I like here. She might be my underdog pick of the card, actually. I do like her here. Edwards is kind of an awkward, rangy striker. Lucy's also rangy. She's a big girl. She probably has the grappling advantage, but I don't know if she'll be able to hold her down to really utilize it. So I think Edwards probably gets the better of her on the feet all the way to a decision. Probably a 2-1. It's going to be a competitive fight. I think conservative, it's going over 1.5. It's one of these, like I said, low-level girls fights, so they're probably going to be more of a point fight. But I do like Edwards in this spot. I can't believe she's the underdog. Not 100% sure if I'm going to bet her yet, but she's definitely my pick and good value on her. Conservative over 1.5, high risk over 2.5, and I don't even think that's high risk. I think that's still conservative. So I got Edwards. What do you think?
I'm actually on you with this one. Edwards has been she's fought more lately. I think this is Pudilova's second stint with the UFC. She came back and beat Wudna Yanan, which is not a big deal because Edwards has beaten Wudna Yanan, so you can't use MMA math on that one. But personally, I just think she's taller, rangier striker. Should keep the distance. Every time I've seen her on the ground, she's got up. She hasn't been really controlled for absolute long periods of time. So if Pudilova wants to grapple with her, I don't think she can hold her down. And Edwards has come through as an underdog for me before. I don't like laying too much on women's fights, but this one per se is a dog or pass for sure, based on the reachables and stuff like that. Same thing like the Kevin Holland Ponzinibbio fight. The reachables, the intangibles Kevin had. He's not the greatest fighter, but he had the intangibles and he worked them. So I feel like she'll work him to a lower level, but pretty much the same sort of thing.
Yep, agree 100%. All right, moving on. We got Gaston Bolanos versus Aaron Phillips. These are two guys that no one really knows a whole lot about. They're actually both strikers. It's kind of a coin flip on who will win. I mean, neither of them have been overly active. The thing about Bolanos though is when he wins by knockout. So I actually think a conservative pick here is that this won't go the distance. One of them is going to knock the other out. And because we haven't seen too much of either, it's hard to take a side. But I think the UFC is actually kind of pushing Gaston a little bit. Not like he's going to be a contender. He's not going to be a title contender, nothing like that. But he is an exciting fighter. Like he can bring some excitement to the cards, I think. So I think the pick is Gaston by knockout. My bet is going to be probably to pass. But if I was betting, I would say fight doesn't go the distance. They're both so inactive that I think somebody's getting caught here with a big shot. They're both strikers. They both hit hard. So I would say fight does not go the distance. My pick would be Gaston. What do you got?
I got Gaston here too. He has fought for Bellator for quite a number of years. A little up and down record in Bellator, to be honest with you. A few wins here, a couple losses here, a few wins here, a couple losses there. No one of note. So I can't really like pull someone from his record that makes any like, oh wow, he really showed a lot of. He didn't. Aaron Phillips, he had the one fight in the UFC. Who do you fight again? What's the guy's name? Oh, Jesus. Oh yeah, it wasn't UFC, it was like CFFC, it was Huckabee. Uh I don't know, low level fight. Gaston has more experience. I'm gonna go with the more experienced fighter here. I'm gonna go with the guy with the better power in his hands. Gaston is my pick. Not a lot of confidence in this. I probably won't play it just like you said, but for the purposes of the show, I'm gonna pick Gaston.
Yep, there you go. I agree. All right, moving on. We got another women's fight, Brana Brazil versus Denise Gomes. This is actually a very evenly matched fight. Brana should have the more technical advantage on the feet, but Denise is a dog. Like she's a tough girl, and she'll close the distance, get in the pocket, and bang away at you. She's willing to eat one to give one. Denise probably hits harder as well. So, like I said, she's willing to eat those jabs of Brunna to get in the close the distance and land her own shots. Again, I think conservative. It's going to go over. It's a women's fight. It's going to go over. Not a ton of confidence here in either of them. Everybody seems to be on the Brunna side, but I think Denise has a shot here. I expect a very close competitive fight. Not going to bet it. Over's the pick. I wouldn't even really. I don't have any lean on who's going to win the fight. I would say over, close fight. What do you think?
I'm just gonna go with the debutante fade here. Bruna Brazil coming in as her first fight in the UFC. Denise Gomez, nothing to write home about. Like you said, close fight, skills match each other. She just fought the Luma Lukbome, who's not a bad fighter, right? So she
She's
already
good.
has a little bit of experience under her belt, fighting a good fighter, taking a good fighter to decision. Luma Lukbome is not a joke. I mean, she doesn't finish anyone, but she does, win a lot of minutes. So, she was hard nosed, fought Luma to a decision. Luma's no joke, like we said. Debutante, who hasn't fought anyone as close to Luma Lukbome's experience level at all. Dogger Pass, I think she's like plus 200 or something like that. I think close to that. Don't quote me, but yeah, I mean, I this is dog shot all the way for me. No question about it. Either dog shot it or don't play it. Like you can take that over 2.5. You're gonna get some kind of greasy line anyway. It's probably some like minus 300, minus 400, something like that. So she's plus 170. I just checked out on online. So plus 170, not bad. I'm gonna take Gomez here.
Yeah, I'm not betting it. I think there's some good spots to bet on this card. It's not one of them, but it's definitely dog or pass for sure. All right, moving on. We got the veteran Lando Vannata versus the newcomer Daniel Zellhuber. Simply put, I can't trust Vannata at all. At his best back in the day, he was pretty good. I remember he walked into that Bobby Green fight, a favorite. Everybody thought he was going to win. Green whooped his ass. And then I remember he got finished. I think his last fight was Charles Jourdain. I think he finished him in the first round or something like that. So
Submission.
I have I have no faith at all in Lando Vannata anymore. Zellhuber, I don't really know. I know he's tall and rangy. I believe he's a kickboxer with a little bit of grappling. I'm not overly sure. I don't want to say the wrong things here, but I could never pick Vannata. So for me, it's pass or Zellhuber for me. Again, there's a lot of fights I like on this card and a lot of spots I will be betting. This isn't one of them, but I would not pick Lando Vannata. That's just me. Do you know anything about Zellhuber, or what do you feel here?
Well, Zellhuber is the prospect in this fight. Vannata is the experienced one, but the experience comes at a cost, right? Because he does lose fights against guys that he shouldn't, wins fights against guys that he shouldn't. So he's a weird guy. Tough to choose. Well, one thing, Vannata has a wrestling advantage here if he chooses to use it. Zellhuber should be decent enough to keep this off the ground. He used to be a volume guy. That's what everyone broke it down. He's facing Trey Ogden. Zellhuber's going to win by volume, blah, 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 blah. And then Trey Ogden comes out, finishes, doesn't finish, sorry, wins as a plus 300 underdog against Zellhuber. Zellhuber threw nothing, took the William Knight approach to that fight. You know what I mean? Very low volumes. So tough to trust this guy too. Basically comes down to if Vannata wants to use the wrestling and he has the gas tank, he might win the fight. Zellhuber should, for all intents and purposes, win this fight. He is the prospect with the better striking, with the possible better volume. But who knows who's going to show up? If the same guy that fought Trey Ogden shows up, he'll lose to Lando Vannata. He will. He's got to change something. I'm going to take Zellhuber because a lot of guys have those UFC jitters in their first fight. He's the better prospect. He's the better point in his career, and he should win the fight.
The fact you just referenced William Knight to fighting like him, I wouldn't bet anybody who fights like William Knight.
No, it's because he threw so low volume. Like, well, nobody could do anything like William Knight did in that fight against what's his name? Geez, the guy that starts with P. I can't remember.
Was that Martin Prashnio or something?
That's it. That's it.
I don't think he threw a strike the whole fight. It was the most pathetic performance I ever seen.
4. I believe it was 4.
Unbelievable.
Whatever. The guy just threw 10 leg kicks in the first round and won the fight because he had way more volume. But whatever. That's another day. That's another talk.
All right, moving on. We actually got an interesting women's fight here. We have Piera Rodrigues versus Jillian Robertson. Simply put, this is a striker versus grappler. Piera is the up-and-comer, undefeated young kid. Robertson's more of the veteran. She's been in there with a lot of people and has a ton of grappling experience. I believe the line is a pick 'em. We both agree we like Piera Rodrigues here. We like her striking and we like her wrestling to be able to keep it standing for the majority. And if she does get taken down, we think she can scramble back to her feet. So I am betting on Piera Rodrigues. You talked me into her. And I do agree. I liked her. I didn't know if I wanted to bet on women's fights. I generally try to stay away from them. But you've convinced me, and I did watch some tape. There's no question she has the striking advantage, a big striking advantage. And Robertson's not the greatest wrestler herself. So the only way she's going to win is if she can get on top. And I don't think she's really going to find herself there. And if she does, it won't be for long. So Rodrigues is the pick. And I do have money on her. We're going to show you some of my bets later. I do have her in a parlay or two. What do you got here?
It's the thing, man. It's the MMA math without actually using the opponents. It's just like, who's got the effective striking? Rodrigues. Who's got the effective grappling? Well, Jillian might have the submissions, but she has to be on top to have those submissions. The wrestling advantage goes to Rodrigues. So that's 2-1, 2.5, basically, because like she's not putting up a triangle or anything from underneath. I feel like Rodrigues has a tendency to give up a round, right? And because she tires, because she goes full tilt, but she's usually giving up the third round. So that's not too bad when you have the first rounds 2 banked, right? Her last Sam Hughes fight, she banked those first 2 rounds. She did give up the third round, but Sam's a dog. Sam showed she was a dog on the weekend. So like when you get those dogs up against you, like that's tough, man. You know what I mean? But she held out. She held out. Sam's a good fighter. She held out. She won. I think just talent gap right here. Whenever Jillian faces someone that is a step up from what she's faced, she's beaten what? Priscilla Cacciabiti, Maria Agapova, Polyana Botalo, Sarah Froda, Like Courtney
She lost
Casey,
to Aldrich.
lost to JJ Aldrich, who isn't that great. She lost to every step up she's ever taken in this thing. And I would say Pierre is on the way up and Jillian's on the way down. Yeah, Jillian's got the experience, but I feel like there's the more well-rounded, more ways to win is Piera. And I will take that all day long, women or not. This one seems like I ought to pick them. If this was minus 200, don't get me wrong, this bet probably won't happen, right? Minus 300, minus 200, this will probably won't happen. But at pick 'em odds, yeah, yeah, for sure.
I think you just nailed it too. Exactly. At Pick'em, that there's fantastic value. 9-0 versus 11-7. You're taking the young undefeated fighter all day, every day. Like that. That's fantastic value. We feel good about it. Hopefully we smash on her for sure. All right, moving on. We got a very strange fight. Ed Short Fuse Herman, everybody's favorite from like 20 years ago, versus Zach Cummings. Back in the day, I used to think Ed Short Fuse Herman was hilarious. So maybe there's some nostalgia feeling there. Zach Cummings, also old. I think it's 42 versus 38. There's no way you can be confident in either of these guys. I don't know here. I mean, realistically, you shouldn't be betting on either of them. I think, have one bet with Zach Cummings. I'm not really overly sure why. I mean, I guess I trust him over a 42-year-old, but neither of them are good. Neither of them are great. They're gonna bang it out in a sloppy fashion, and I don't know. This could go either way. I got Zach Cummings, but I probably rather see Ed Herman win, to be honest. But yeah, honestly, guys, put your money somewhere else and enjoy this fight. Do you have any strong feeling about this fight?
No, not a chance, though. I mean, Ed's got that submission game sort of thing working for him, but he's 42. His gas tank's probably shot. Every time, I hate this guy's fight. Every time I think it's going to get it finished in the distance, they go to a decision. Every time I'll put a decision, he goes to distance. I mean, it gets finished. So whatever, this fight's a wash. Pick Cummings because he's 38. He should be better than Ed. But whatever. I'm not putting any money on this. Cummings
Straight
is my bet.
up pass.
Yeah, it's fucking bullshit.
All right, moving on, we have a really good prelim. This fight probably should be on the main card. It has a lot of relevancy to the division. We have Brandon Royval versus Matthias Nicolau. Nicolau is knocking on the door to that title shot. You could make an argument that he probably already deserves it, to be honest, or he's right there. I mean, Pantoja first, but he's right there. And Royval, he's inconsistent, but he's dangerous. He's the more dangerous guy, maybe. Like he finished when he wins, he finishes. So he's an opportunistic moment winner. Like he's not going to win the minutes. He's going to try to finish you in one big move, one big moment. He's going to try to finish the fight. So this is a great fight. And Nicolau, I hammered his line. I got him at like minus 150. I believe now he's approaching minus 200, I believe, which is where he rightfully should be. Nicolau should hold every single advantage in this fight. In my opinion, he is the better striker. He should be able to control where it goes. Like I am very confident Nicolau should win this fight. Royval can only win with a Hail Mary fluky shot here, or maybe a fluky choke or something, but I don't see it happening. I do like Nicolau big time. I think he's in almost all of my parlays, so he's like my main parlay piece here. So I definitely got Nicolau. How do you see this fight going?
I'm all over Nicolau. Big time. Yeah, he's the better well-rounded fighter. Like if we're gonna go with this MMA well-rounded math, he's the better well-rounded fighter here. Royval, he's a good submission grappler, kind of like Jillian. Good submission grappler, but he fails to get the fight to the ground in good ways, personally. You know what I mean? That fight against Bontour, I don't even know if he actually won that fight. That was razor thin. He beat Schnell, but whatever. Matt Schnell's match. Oh, Nicolau would have smoked Schnell, so it doesn't make a difference there. This is actually, I would feel like this is sort of like a step down for Nicolau, actually, because he fought Kopp. Who else did he fight lately? It was some good
David
fight.
Dvorak.
David Dvorak. Oh, he beat
he just finished Schnell in the first round.
Yeah, he finished Schnell too. Yeah, so whatever. Matt Schnell is very journeyman like if you're to be nice to him. You know what I mean? I mean, this guy, he's fought some good guys. Manal Cop, Tim Elliott's no joke either, right? Tim Elliott's is a crazy wild man in there, but he's got skill, right? And he probably would give Brandon Royval a run for his money, to be honest with you, his style. So, you know what I mean? Like David Dvorak, very good fighter, very good fighter. So, I mean, like you said, Nicolau's on the door. I really like him too. He's going to be on my top ticket. He's going to be one of my top two plays. Any money I lay would be on him as well. And he's come through for me on various occasions. So, especially against Cop that one time, I really liked him. And that was Razor thing too. But
Yeah, but I'm also huge on Cop. So the fact that he beat Cop and David Dvorak, like, and he finished Snell. I mean, he one thing he is he's consistent. So I do trust him. I trust him with my money, and I think at a minus, like I said, I got him at 150 or 160
that's
max. I
good
don't know what
price.
he. Yeah, like
That's
I
good
feel like
price.
that's great value. So I'm very confident in him, and yeah, he should get it done. Moving on to our last prelim, we have TJ Brown versus Bill Algeo. Uh, Bill Algeo is on, everybody's on him. He's a great fighter, but I know this sounds crazy, but I think TJ Brown actually has a path to victory here. Everybody is on Bill. Everybody. TJ, if he can take him down, and I think he might be able to, can grind out a decision. I think it might not be pleasant to watch. Nobody wants to see that, but TJ definitely has a path to victory if he can get those takedowns, and I think he might be able to. Um, I'm not betting the fight, but I do see value on TJ. I think he's a live dog. I know everybody loves Bill, but I think TJ has a shot here. Again, not betting him. I think TJ has a shot. What do you got?
Bill is he's a good volume striker, to be honest with you. He has good striking, keeps his distance. He's very good with his straights and his jab. But he has a problem too. He gets taken down in all his fights, right? Ricardo Lamas took him down 5 times. Spike Shitty Carlisle took him down 4 times. He was taken down twice against Joe Anderson Brito. So like the takedowns are there. His takedown accuracy for I'm gonna look it up right now. Takedown defense is 55%. Not that good. TJ? TJ is known to get finished, but Bill is not a known finisher. TJ is known to get subbed here and there. TJ is known to get wobbled here and there. That's not Bill's style. He doesn't do that kind of stuff, right? TJ's path to victory is to take this to the ground, out grapple him, outwork him. Kind of what he's been doing in his last few fights, to be honest with you. So yeah, I'm with you. And I think it's more than a shot. I think TJ has shown the fight IQ to go for a propensity of takedowns during the fight. So I think that's what he's going to do. If Bill shows the resistance, Bill wins. If not, TJ has the game to hold him down. I've seen him hold guys down. So I'm going to go TJ Brown. I'm going to go TJ Brown by decision because Bill's a tough guy. And I think he's going to ride this one out.
And there's again, the props aren't dropped yet, but I would imagine him to win by decision. He might get plus 300 on that. Like, I think he's a live dog. Him and Edwards are both live dogs. I wouldn't blame anyone for betting it. I'm passing on that fight, but definitely a live dog, 100%.
Oh, I like TJ, man. I liked him. What was his last fight? He fought, what's his name? Looking at, not Eric Silva. He lost to Shai Land, which that's a bad look. But Charles Rosa, he beat. Rosa has good jiu-jitsu on the ground all the time, though. Same kind of takedown defense, right, as Bill Algeo. So, and he won against Eric Silva. So, I don't know. Take a shot with him, man. TJ Brown is
All
a
right.
good wrestler. He's a way better wrestler than people give him credit for. So, I think there's a path there.
All right, guys, moving on to the main card. It's a 6-fight main card, which is a little bit different. And to start it off, we have Clay Guida versus Rafa Garcia. Clay Guida is 42 years old. He's the carpenter. He's everybody's fan favorite from 20 years ago. And Rafa Garcia, nobody really knows. I know him. I like Garcia here. I think Garcia has the advantage everywhere except cardio. And Clay definitely does have cardio. So it will worry me a little bit, but I have a lot of money on Rafa Garcia. I'm not telling you to, but I think Garcia is going to hurt him with his hands. I think Garcia, I mean, some people know him as, oh, he's good on the ground, good grappler if he gets on top of you, but he actually has good straight punches. He has a good chin. I like Garcia. As long as he doesn't gas, Garcia holds all the advantages, I believe. And Clay Guida, fuck, man, I fucking bet against this guy every card and he screws me all the time, but I'm over it. He's going down this fight. I don't. Not only that, everybody loves him, and I find him boring as hell. I don't. I'm the one person who doesn't like Clay Guida. I mean, I respect him. I respect anybody who gets in there and anybody that can hang around for this long. But I don't like watching him fight, and I don't think he's good at all. So again, I got Garcia. I got him on a lot of my tickets, so I have a lot of money on him actually. So yeah, I think he's going to smoke Clay Guida. I know a lot of people don't think that, but I think he's going to smoke him. How do you see it?
Well, I was just gonna pass on this fight because I don't like Garcia's gaff tank. I call him half a Garcia and I want a full Garcia. I always say that shit, but he does have good wrestling, and I have laid on him before. I laid on him against Mayashate. I laid on him against Ronson. I got burned against Grutzmacher on him, but he was easy to pick against him against Drakkar Close. So like he wasn't up to closest level at that point, right? So, but yeah, good wrestler, very good wrestler. Gas tank does befall you. That'd be the only thing. But Guida couldn't finish a can, right? Like he does get these submissions from time to time, but like you said, Garcia's good on the ground. As I changed you with Jillian Robinson, you have moved me over to more of a three-quarter Garcia on this one. I am looking for spots. I respect your opinion on this one. I didn't really have much of an opinion on this one, but the points you've made, I have looked at the tape afterwards, and points you made are valid. So, I mean, if there's a side, there's an A side to this fight. It's definitely Garcia. Quay Guida's got the experience. He's got all that stuff, and he can pull off some sort of like Quay Guida experience, is what I call it. But no, I mean the younger fighter should win out here. Uh, I'll look at some more tape, but you seem really confident in it. I take your opinion very highly, so I will run my own tape, and if I do concur with you at the end of the week, he'll make it onto some of my parlays for sure.
I feel really good about him. Honestly, 28 years old, 15-3 versus 42 years old, 38-22. And it's not like you could say, oh, but Clay's fighting better guys. He's not. He's not fighting better guys. They're giving him layups and he's failing or squeaking by of the slimmest margins. I think Rafa Garcia is going to fuck him up. Honestly, I think he's going to put hands on Clay. I really like Garcia, and like you said, Drakkar Close. The guy's a good fighter, man. Again, he's been in there with that Haskparat or whatever, that boxer guy.
Yeah.
And that was a good close fight. He showed me a chin in that fight. He ate some punches.
Oh yes.
And his punches were straight, man. He throws straight punches, like something you don't see all the time in MMA. I really like Rafa Garcia. I'll be shocked if Clay pulls this off. Holy Jesus. But no, he's done. He's not pulling, not this time. Clay, you're going down this time. Rafa Garcia is the pick. Very confident. Moving on, we got Pedro Munhoz versus Chris Gutierrez. I like Chris. People say he's just a leg kicker. He's the more powerful, kind of boring leg kicker, but Pedro doesn't do much himself. He's also a leg kicker and a low output. Sometimes he throws those stupid spinning back kicks that aren't even close to hitting anybody. Like he had this one fight where he just kept trying these stupid spinning back kicks that weren't even coming close. Pedro's got a chin and he's been in there with the better guys. So I'll give him that. So I see this fight being over. I see this conservatively over 1.5, and I like Chris to get it done just by hitting harder. I think this fight actually might be a snooze fest. I don't think it's going to be the most exciting fight, but I think Chris does everything Pedro does a little bit better. I think he does the better leg kicks. I think he has a better jab maybe. Like I think it's going to be a boring fight. Over conservatively, Chris would be, I guess, the higher risk pick. But I do have Chris on a parlay or two. I wouldn't go crazy on it, but I think Chris gets this done in a 99% stand-up fight. That's how I see it playing out. How do you see it?
Yeah, there's not going to be any grappling here. Chris doesn't take anybody down, and Munhoz doesn't take anybody down. This is reminds me of the Kevin Holland Ponzinibbio thing again. The intangibles are definitely in Chris's favor. Reach, what's Pedro Munoz's biggest downfall? His reach is really bad. I think it's like 62 or something, really crazily small. So he's gonna have a hard time hitting Chris, and the hard time he's gonna have to enter the pocket. And when he does enter the pocket, he enters the pocket sort of like with that shadow boxing style sort of thing, missing. Granted, he was actually winning that first round, in my opinion, against Sean O'Malley. So give or take. I mean, the judges' scores had said he was winning, so who knows how that fight would have won anyway. But yeah, I mean, Pedro, I mean, Munoz hits hard. So but he knocked out Garbrandt when they got into a firefight. There's no way Gutierrez makes this a firefight. If you ever watch how he fights, he paces himself, hits range. He did beat Dana Baccaral, which I have a lot of respect for as a hard hitter. So he's got to have some sort of chin. Does roll with the punches. So yeah, the conservative pick would be the over 2.5 for sure. I feel like this is going to be a long fight, a little low volume, and Chris is just going to do a little bit more and take home a decision.
Yeah, that's what I see 100%. All right, moving on. We got Jan Cutelaba versus Tanner Boser. Boser, I believe he's dropping in weight to light heavyweight. I've seen some pictures of him. He looks really lean. Doesn't even look like the same guy. You're like, holy Jesus. So he looks different. He's coming down to light heavyweight. I don't trust either of them. Cutelaba is a strange dude. Don't like him. I think he's a strange character. I'm surprised he still has a job. And Tanner Boser, everybody likes him because he looked like Roy Nelson or something like that, but he's not really good. I mean, he should have the striking advantage. I believe Boser's the underdog, actually, I believe.
He is.
Um, yeah, he's the underdog. So there might be some value there, but again, I just don't trust either of them. Boser should have the better striking. If Jan can get him down, Jan might be able to snatch a submission. To me, the fight's a pass. If I had to pick, I guess I'll side with the Canadian Tanner Boser to maybe put him down. Or I mean, Cutelaba is usually kill or be killed, so maybe it doesn't go the distance because Cutelaba might get knocked out or he gets the takedown and finds a submission. But for me, there's just better spots to bet. I'm not betting it, and I don't like either of them. But Cutelaba just seems like such a douche, man. Every weigh-in, he's like pushing people's necks and fucking flexing on them and shit. I wouldn't mind to see Cutelaba get knocked out and get his walking papers, but no faith in this fight at all. How do you see it?
So everybody that's watched us before knows my view on Kevin Holland's fight IQ. If there was a fighter in the UFC with a lower fight IQ than Kevin Holland, it is Cutelaba. His fight IQ is through the ground. So he has a wrestling base. That's a very good strength of his. He's used it on occasion, most notably against Dustin Jacoby, where he pretty much killed him in that first round. But somehow that fight became a draw.
He lost that fight. I don't care. He lost that fight.
He won the first round. They gave him 10-8. I believe it was he got that 10-8 in the first round. And then Jacoby won the other two. So I believe that's the way it went down. I don't know if it was a 10-8, but he was owning him with the wrestling. But whatever. He beat Devin Clark. Could have beaten Ryan Spann. Could definitely have beaten Ryan Spann, but his fight IQ said, let me put my neck into a guillotine because Ryan Spann's move is a guillotine. And yep, that's it. He did it again against Johnny Walker. Again, stupid fight IQ. And I believe he could use his intangible wrestling against Kennedy, and he lost that too in one of Kennedy and Jukway's best performances of his life. So, not to mention both Magomed and Ankalaev losses. I wouldn't mention that because this guy is the top of the division. The first one though, he's like, "Oh, I was playing possum and I really wasn't knocked out." No, you were dumb. He's so dumb in the cage. Tanner Boser, I don't trust him. I've probably lost one of the biggest bets I've ever made on him, and I shouldn't have made it. That was such a rookie mistake. But I'll give him a couple of things. One, he's the dog here, so good value. Two, he's coming from heavyweight where he's getting pushed around because he's a small heavyweight. to a light heavyweight division where he may be the bigger guy in some sense. So, I mean, Ions could use his wrestling in the first round, but we all know he's going to be dumb and strike with him in the second round. Tanner's not bad. So I feel fight IQ is the one thing that is going to befall Cutelaba here. I'm picking Boser. I'm picking Boser by knockout. You know he's a decisionator, but Cutelaba makes it a knockout sort of fight. So it's probably going to pay pretty well once these props drop. So if you want a sneaky pick, Boser by knockout. That's my pick.
Yeah, so there you have it, another underdog pick. So there's definitely a lot of live dogs on this card, and I would agree. It's a passer dog again. I mean, passer dog for sure. Moving up, we have Dustin Jacoby versus Azamat Murzakanov. This fight is huge for me because it's my final piece of my parlay. Like I had Nicolau, I have half a Garcia, and then I have Dustin Jacoby as like my final big piece for my big parlay. So I have Jacoby. This fight is going to be a stand-up fight. Jacoby is a great kickboxer. Unfortunately, he is kind of a point fighter, but he shows a good chin and he usually has pretty good volume, mixes up kicks and punches really well. And his record 18-6 doesn't look great, but he's been screwed on some decisions. Like Jacoby is a good fighter. And then you have Murzakanov 12-0. You'd go, oh, and he's a striker as well with a ton of knockouts. I think he has 9 knockouts, like very high finishing rate, I believe. But he's losing every fight until he scores the knockout in the third round. So Jacoby's shown a fantastic chin. Murzakanov's always losing until he finds that kill shot. I like Dustin here. I like Jacoby to get it done again. I shouldn't say again. He actually got screwed last fight against Roundtree, I think. But I like Jacoby. Jacoby should be on like a 7 or 8 fight winning streak. I think he's been screwed twice in the last few fights or something like that. But I do like Jacoby. It's going to be a kickboxing fight. It's basically, do you think Azamat's going to find the knockout, or do you think Jacoby's going to win the decision? I think Jacoby's going to win the decision. I feel pretty good about it. Like I said, he's never really shown a bad chin. I don't think he's ever really been rocked. I mean, he covers up. He does kind of turtle a little bit. Maybe the judges don't like that. That's actually the thing that worries me more than anything is judges don't seem to like his style. Because there was a couple fights where I thought he won clearly. One was that draw with Cutelaba, and the Roundtree fight, I thought he won. It wasn't a great performance, but I thought he won. But he's got such a big size advantage here too. So I think with the length, the size, the points, the chin, I think everything points to Jacoby for me. And I do have a lot of money on Jacoby on this fight. So I've got Dustin, and I hope like hell he comes through for me. Do you have anything different? Are you going to talk me out of this, or you agree, or what do you think?
I think he's the better fighter, based on volume, based on skill, based on distance, based on a lot of things. Murzakanov, actually, his last fight against Devin Clark was better than that one against Stefan Njukwe. But his debut fight against Stefan Njukwe, he was down 2 rounds to nothing by a lot, a lot. Like this wasn't even close. And then the flying knee, we all love the flying knee. He got him. Devin Clark, that was 1-1 in my eyes going into the third. So I guess you could say he finished. So he culminated to a better performance. So this is his third fight. Now he's fighting a stand-up fighter. He's gonna try to get him down, but Jacoby's got decent takedown defense. I said decent, as he does get taken down from time to time, but he does pop back up, and he does fight for your dollar. And like you said, the good chin. I just don't think Murzakanov is busy enough. He's not a busy enough fighter. Not with the strikes. He's not busy enough grappler. It's not like he's relentless grappler or any of that kind of. He does throw in a takedown here and there, but I wouldn't call that relentless. So if Jacoby can mind his P's and Q's, keep the distance, and just watch for the big shot, should win this fight pretty handily. I would, like you said, pretty handily. What does that mean, though, in the eyes of the judges? So, I mean, definitely should win a decision 29-28, 30-27 if he does nothing stupid. So, yeah, Jacoby's my pick as well. Nothing to add to you.
He's got a big size advantage here too, so I'm hoping that Murzakanov will not be able to find the chin here. So yeah, I feel pretty good about it. I think conservative would be over 1.5, but no, I'm going straight on the Jacoby side. All right, moving on. We got the co-main event. Great fight. Edson Barbosa versus Billy Q. Great fight. I think the odds have Billy Q the slight favorite.
I believe so.
I think it's pretty close.
I'll look it up while you do your breakdown.
Barbosa, obviously everybody knows him for one of the most lethal leg kicks in the game, and even spinning head kicks, all kinds of crazy attacks. So wicked Muay Thai fighter, kickboxer, stand-up fighter, fantastic, very exciting to watch. And Billy Q is his kryptonite. He is a pressure fighter. He is going to be right on you. He's not going to give him the space to throw those deadly kicks. Barbosa was so close to getting a title shot. Now I think he's lost 2 or 3 in a row. So I would have liked to see Barbosa get a striker, someone that would put on a show with him. And it's not that Billy Q is not a striker. I mean, Billy Q is pretty good at everything. I mean, he can strike and he can wrestle. But Billy Q is the exact kryptonite for him. He's a pressure fighter. He's just going to be right on him. He's not going to give him that time to set up those kicks. It's a tough one because I don't think Billy Q's as good as everybody else thinks. So I think Edson has a shot, but again, at the end of the day, styles do make fights. Billy does have the style that should beat him. If he fights him kind of like a Bryce Mitchell did, I don't think his grappling's on Bryce Mitchell's level. I don't think, but if he fights that kind of style, just spear him right away. Fight him like Hoses fought that first round on Saturday there. Just immediately spear him. Just immediately come right at him. Close that distance immediately. Billy can win this fight. But again, I don't think Billy's as good as everybody else thinks. It's an interesting fight. I actually don't have any money on this fight. I have big bucks on all those other fights. So I'm going to enjoy this one. I think it's a fun fight. I would like to see Barbosa win. I feel bad for the guy. He was so close, and then now it's like he's fallen off again. And that's kind of been the story of his career. He wins 3 very impressively, and then he loses 2 or 3, and you have no faith in him at all. So I can't have any confidence in Barbosa. I don't. But again, I don't love Billy Q the way everybody else does. For me, I'm passing. Great fight. Gonna enjoy it. Not betting it. How do you like it?
I really like Billy Q in this spot. Pressure fighters. Well, yeah, I was telling you all week. I'm like, he's the kryptonite. He's the pressure. He'll just go right after him. He always stays in your face. That's how he beat, I believe, Brendan Allen. Right? And Brendan Allen is on one hell of a run, right? I believe Billy Q beat Brendan
Those
Allen.
are 2 completely different sized guys, no?
No, was it Brendan Allen? No, it was a gal. It was no. Yeah, you're right. I have them mixed up. That was Brendan Allen. No. Shane Burgos, he lost to. It was Alexander Hernandez. He went right after. Yeah, my bad. But yeah, I mean, he went after Alexander Hernandez. Well, you know what it is? It's just like you can't give Edson that spot because it's when he can keep that range. That's when he becomes deadly, right? You know what I mean? That's how Burgos lost him because you can't let him keep that range. Boom. That was the weirdest knockout ever. But yeah, that's how he kept it up. Boom. But now the problem is Billy Q at minus 180 is not what you like Billy Q as, right? Billy Q is a fight for your dollar kind of guy, blah, blah, blah. So Billy Q at plus money. So the odds dictate you don't bet on this fight, right? The odds say that Billy Q probably should win, but I probably will take a pass on it. But I have a strong lean to Billy Q. If these odds tighten up and it gets to like say minus 150, minus 140, that might do like a 2-man parlay with him and someone else to get it to plus odds. But maybe that in the over in the main event or something like that to get the plus odds. But yeah, Billy Q, I have a pretty good lean to Billy Q. I think styles make fights, like you said. And I think this style is what Edson doesn't like to see.
Honestly, it's going to be a great fight regardless. It should be a fun one. And it sets up a really fun main event too. Main event, we got Max Holloway versus Arnold Allen. Should be a fantastic fight. Max Holloway has only lost to Volkanovski a few times now, and when he moved up and fought up and fought Dustin Poirier. But other than that, in the last decade, that's all he's really lost to is Volk twice and Dustin Poirier moving up, and there's no shame in that at all.
Conor McGregor.
I don't think that was in this decade, was it?
I was pretty sure it was in this decade. Yeah, he lost a
That was
couple.
like that got to be about 10 years ago, no?
Oh man, still point being he loses to good guys.
Yeah, yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. And then Arnold Allen, 19-1. The guy looks like a beast. Obviously, he's very fast. He hits hard. A lot of question marks about his cardio. He appears to be in fantastic shape, so I don't think he's going to gas, but you don't really know. And sometimes those muscle head guys do get. Not that he's a muscle head; he's pretty lean, but you don't know. You just don't know. His fights end strangely. I mean, that he had that fight with Calvin Kattar, and Kattar blew his knee out in the end of the first round, so that was it. The fight before that, he had who did he have before that?
Dan
Um,
Hooker.
Dan Hooker moving down a weight class. The guy looked like Skeletor out there, and I think he got dropped like first punch or something like that. Wasn't it a first round knockout?
First round finish, yeah, big time. Yeah, he
Yeah.
looked
So,
bad. He looked bad.
and then the fight before that, he fought Super Sadiq, I think, and that fight was okay. I think he won the first two rounds, and he kind of gassed, and then Yusuf won the third round, and he won 2-1. There's just not enough video of him against high level competition. So I think Allen absolutely has a chance because one day Holloway's chin has to give out. The guy's been in so many friggin' wars, but until it does give out, it's hard not to favor Holloway on volume and just fighting that 5 round pace. I love Max, so maybe I'm biased. I love Max. He's one of my favorite fighters, but he's been in so many wars. He's taken so many damage, and he didn't look great against Yair Rodriguez. He kind of panic wrestled almost. I've never seen that out of Max Holloway before. I mean, it was kind of good, I guess, that to see that he can mix it up if he needs to, but it was strange. He didn't like what was happening on the feet in that fight. I think Allen's live. I favor Max. Again, it's strange because I always bet the main event, always, but I don't think I'm betting this main event. I like the other spots for betting, and I like this one just for enjoying. And as much as I love Max Holloway, I think a win here is almost bad for the division because he can't fight for another title. I mean, unless Yair beats Alex, you can't give Holloway another Volkanovski fight. So Allen winning is almost better for the division, to be honest. But again, I love Max Holloway. I want Max to win. Um, yeah, if Max's chin holds up and he still has it, he should win the fight, I think. But Arnold Allen's definitely live. He's fast as hell. He hits hard as hell. So it's going to be. Here's his chance to show us. We don't know. Here's his chance. What do you think?
Well, it's two fights that are really the ones that show, Arnold Allen has a chink in the armor, sort of, per se, is the Sadiq Yusuff fight. He's severely outstruck by Sadiq Yusuff all 3 rounds. But like you said, he won the first 2 rounds. He didn't win by volume. He won because he knocked him down each one of those 2 rounds. So there's where the power comes into play because he was outstruck and knocked him down. The knockdown trumps being outstruck. So he wins those 2 rounds. Definitely lost the third round to Sadiq, wins the fight. It's not a robbery by any chance of the imagination, but it was closer than topology viewers would, understand it if you didn't watch the fight. Second fight is a Mads Burnell fight that he subbed Mads Burnell. Burnell's a pretty tough guy over in Bellator. He was over at the UFC level, and he was losing that fight in my eyes until he tapped him. And then he just beat a bunch of nobodies. Gilbert Melendez is not in his heyday. Jordan Rinaldi, Nick Lentz, those kind of guys. Nothing to write home about. Definitely has a chance here. But I learned there's certain fighters that the spots to fade him, like Max. I mean, I won't fade him unless he's Volk. He did have trouble with Yair, like you said. But look at Yair. Obviously, Yair is getting better. Like Yair is a top tier fighter in this division, so him still beating Yair is a big deal because Yair is about to fight for the belt the day after my birthday. So yeah, so like it's I'm not gonna fade Max here. I'm not like you said, you don't bet on the main event. If I have a good day on the books, I might take a couple units and throw it on a Max decision because I don't see Max finishing Arnold by no means. Arnold could possibly finish Max if Max's chin is But Max doesn't have the power to really finish anyone, except for the two knockouts I called out against Jose Aldo, which were ridiculous that he knocked him out. But I called round and knockout on both of those. But Max doesn't really knock anybody out, to be honest with you. So I'm going to take Max. I'm going to take Max by decision. I'm pretty confident in the over 3.5 if you want to be conservative, over 4.5 if you want to take a higher risk. If I get plus money on a Max decision and I win 2 or 3 of my parlays, I'm definitely going to put a couple units on Max. I won't put the whole boat on him, not like if he was fighting somebody else, but I've learned from my John Jones thing, don't not bet on these guys when you think they're actually going to win. So, because you have this small window with these fighters, right? And someone eventually will crack the chin of Max Holloway. Someone will crack the chin of these fighters, and it will happen. I just don't think it's Arnold Allen. Maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like Max still got it. Because that Cater fight, Cater was starting to come on. I know he lost the first round, but Cater was like a slow starter, and he would have came on there. I feel like that fight would have gone a long time because Cater's no wuss. The beating he took against Max, that was the beating for the ages that he took against Max, and he took it all 5 rounds. So who knows? I take Max by decision, though. That's my pick.
I think Allen has a real chance against anybody that he can knock out. Like, he hits so hard that if you can be knocked out, he has a chance to knock you out. But Max Holloway has just shown that insane chin. So until that chin cracks, it's hard to pick against him here. And funny stat about Max Holloway, the guy's been around forever. He's never been knocked down once, it says. He's never been knocked down.
Nope.
He's never been knocked down in all these fights.
But he's got caught clean lots.
Oh yeah, he's covered up. He's been rocked for sure, but he's never been dropped in a fight. and he's been busted up. He's been bloodied up. He's been man. Arnold hits hard, but to me, he's just a better Josh Emmett, a younger, longer Josh Emmett.
He's got more skill, but
yeah. I like your strategy. You know what? Because all my parlays actually end at the Jacoby fight. If Jacoby wins, and I will have all my tickets done by then. So if I smash like we've been doing, then you know what? Then I'll sprinkle a bit on these last 2 fights. But I'm gonna let my first part. What's that?
Depends on what the odds are for like. I'll do the props on the last 2. I like the decision on actually maybe not in the Q fight because Barbosa does tire sometimes, right? As it gets on. And Q puts on such a high pace that the referee might stop it because he's just going at him and Barbosa's just like turtling up in a corner or something like that. The other last fight I see is like a decision if you really want to. Sometimes if you get good plus money, I don't think you'll get good plus money on Holloway decision. I think you'll get like plus 150 maybe if you're lucky. Like if you get plus 200 on a Holloway decision, you just smash the shit out of that, right? So who knows? Wait till the props drop for that one.
Well, first we're gonna smash those first tickets, and then we're gonna get the itch by the end of the night. We're gonna be itching for another bet. So I'm sure we're gonna have something. But honestly, guys, I like our parlays for this card. I like the card in general. It's a good card.
Yep.
I do like our parlays. In a minute, we're gonna put up our chart like we always do. If you're playing individuals, we do have a conservative side. We do have a higher risk, higher reward side. I don't think a lot of people play individual picks, but we put them out there anyways. And every single video that we've put them out, we've won both sides. So guys, we're winning every single week. The parlays last weekend smashed. I made a lot of money, and I'm going to roll over into this weekend. And I actually have more confidence on this card. I mean, unless Jacoby screws it up for me, I feel really good here. So I like our parlays here, and I like the value. Like, more than anything, I really like the return. So I'm gonna post up 4 of my parlays. I really like them. I know I sent them to you. You agree? You like them as well?
Yeah.
There's no props out yet, so we don't really have anything to give you right now on those. Maybe we'll put up another video closer to, maybe after the weigh-ins. If not, we'll do a recap Sunday or Monday. But guys, we've been smashing every single card. I'm not telling you to bet your house. I'm not even telling you to bet anyways. But if you're following somebody else's picks, don't follow our picks. We are winning week in, week out. I do not know the last time we lost. I've been winning every single week. He's been winning every single week. So give us some love. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Thank you for watching, and we'll talk to you guys soon. And let's keep smashing. All right. Have a good night. See you guys.